first.
Also,
I don't forget to do that.
Okay. So official.
Okay.
I definitely did not finish all of my notes, but that's okay. We'll roll with it.
Apparently Remus made the notes like a half hour ago, and I completely
forgot
about them. So.
Like, how do you try to condense their whole discography? I don't know.
That's why we have like 3-hour recording sessions, and we're like, well, we're splitting that into multiple episodes because we don't want to work more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start recording me, but
yeah.
Nope, we're not gonna close it.
Do you want to play back anything and check if it's like echoing or anything?
For the Zoom recording, anything that we hear how it goes is exactly how it basically is just a screen recording. So that's the only way it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always feel so smart when we have people, and I'm like, we don't know what's going on, but we look like we do.
Yeah.
No, we're professional. We know what's happening. Come on.
So how did you guys meet?
Through Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah, literally Remus DM'd me and was like, hey, are you still looking for somebody? And I was like, yes, you're like the only person who wants to do this.
Who is not 13 years old.
Yes, oh my word. There were so many 13-year-olds, and I was like, I can't do this for legal reasons.
Yeah.
Like that would just get dicey, especially if we ever do get the Patreon to actually make money.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't want to do underage stuff.
For sure.
You get to deal with me, who is also a baby, but not by much.
Legally not.
I am legally an adult.
Okay. I can still faintly hear you on my phone, so I'm like, I hope
it's not coming through on our end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your mic might have a noise gate, so it's probably blocking.
I think I just fixed it, so we're good.
Heck yes. And then how do you pronounce your name? Is it Anna?
It's Anna. I just got an H at the end because I'm cool.
My mom was cool. Michael brought it up and was like, I've been pronouncing her name in my head Anna this whole time, but it might be Anna. And I was like, maybe we should actually check.
Yeah, most people
so embarrassing.
think it's Anna, but for some reason that's like a pet peeve. Like I completely understand, but
no, it's okay. I always get called Michelle because I present as very feminine and my name is Michael.
Yeah.
So
I just get people not knowing how to pronounce my name. Because if you don't know Harry Potter, mostly you don't know my name, and they're like Remus, and I'm like, I'm gonna lose it. I did this to myself. What? I chose every time I go to Starbucks, it's something to the effect of Remus, and I'm like,
wow.
Me. My friend just bought me a moose sticker because of it.
Yeah.
She just sent it to me. I'm like, great, cool.
So do you guys both love Swish and Flick too?
I literally was listening to it earlier. I started listening to Switch and Flick.
You did?
Like recently. I love it.
Good.
Okay.
I'm listening to both because I'm doing a reread.
Mm-hmm. Oh, nice. I just started. Me and my friend Caitlin from college, we will video call and read every week. So we just started the 7th one.
Oh man.
I've never actually read all of 5 or 6 and 7.
Me neither.
Which is so funny when I think about it, because I know everything about all the stuff that happens, and I've been a fan of Harry Potter for years, and sometimes I just remember that I haven't actually read them, because that's what I'm doing now is I'm forcing myself to get through all of them, because I'll get to the 3rd one and I'm just over reading because I don't read for pleasure much anymore like I used to. And so I'm like, I need to read Half-Blood Prince and Deathly Hallows, actually read them. I'm like,
I was chugging through them pretty quick for my first actual full read through until Rena told me about all the young dudes fanfic, and now I can't stop reading that, so I'm getting behind in my actual Harry Potter reading.
My goal now is I'm gonna finish book 7, and then I'm gonna reread all the young dudes because it's
awesome,
permanently ingrained.
I'm in year 6 now, where Remus, especially over the Christmas break, where Remus and Sirius are actually together, and I'm like, I've been waiting for years.
Oh, nice.
I love that whole section. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
All the young dudes owns my soul. And I forget that a lot of it isn't canon. It's a whole thing for me. And I just recently found it too.
Yeah.
Is all the young dudes an author?
No, it's fan fiction. Just
really it's the title. Okay.
Yeah, and it's by Miss King Bean 89, I believe, who no one can find, which is such a bummer.
Okay.
It's blown up in the Harry, specifically the Marauders like fandoms.
Mhm.
Out of nowhere, people are finding it. That's how I found it. And it's like this insanely good fan fiction. It's so long.
Good. Yeah.
It's so long because it's all like 7 years of Hogwarts plus the war. So it's like
Okay. Oh
it's
wow.
essentially the same style as the Harry Potter books, where we're going to take you year by year, but it's all Marauders, their whole friendship basically. It's so
Wow,
good.
she was committed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like
and it's so
80
good.
something chapters. It's
No,
some
it's
crazy
over
amount of words.
200.
You're right. I was mixing, and it's like some crazy amount of words. It's so good.
Yeah, each chapter, if I'm like not like speed reading because of like an intense part, if I'm just like casually reading it, it probably takes me like 20 minutes to get through each chapter.
Okay.
It's so good. Highly recommend. Anyway, do we want to actually talk about
Yeah, we're talking about Harry Potter now.
21
Harry Potter podcast.
It checks.
You thought this was 21 Pilots.
The amount of times Remus and I will either start off talking about Harry Potter or end talking about Harry Potter. It's like every episode.
Every time we record by ourselves, we'll be really on track. We'll finish the episode, stop recording, and then talk for like an hour. And we're like,
that's amazing.
Not only are we sometimes recording for like 3 hours, and then it'll be us being like, so how's this going? Just like we could just text each other. That would make life easy. Anyway.
Oh yeah, every night pretty much I'm reading and like something happens and all the young dudes are like, this just happened. And Remus is like, yes, it did.
And I can't really comment on much of it without being like,
I
oh, just you wait.
Reactions of friends.
It's so fun. Anyway, Micah, would you like to kick us off?
Yes. Hello, we're Remus and Michael. Welcome to Cliquecast, the official, unaffiliated 21 Pilots podcast run by two fans who have no idea what's going on. And today with us, we have Anna. Say hello, Anna.
Hello, world.
And they're here to talk about religion and 21 Pilots stuff, because in case you didn't know, it's very heavily a theme throughout, like, pretty much all of it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And if you're interested, I have a podcast about it.
Yeah, this is like our first official like collab where we might do an episode with you too.
Yes. You are for sure doing an episode if you would like to.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. That'll be the Harry Potter episode.
Yes.
Hello, welcome to EnTrench. Today we're talking about Harry Potter.
Yeah. They're like, what? Like it all started because one of the hosts of Cliquecast chose a stupid name, and then we talked for Harry Potter for 20 minutes before we recorded the episode.
It's pronounced Remus.
It's Remus. Thank you. My name is legally Remus. I'm gonna spell it like that when I change it.
Oh no. Yes, we have Anna, Michelle, and Remus with us.
Cringe.
Taking a step further, just start dead naming me.
Oh no.
Oh no.
That'd be so funny. God, okay.
Wouldn't that
to
be
keep
funny?
Up. I mean, might as well. So for 21 Pilots news, like we normally do in episodes, we can't really think of much, actually. I don't think there's anything. Oh, we literally just talked about it. There's a softball game happening in Ohio, and they're playing on Friday.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Tyler and Josh are playing?
Yeah, it's 21 Pilots.
Oh. Are they like playing the game, or are they just like performing? I don't even know what it is.
To be honest, I didn't look that hard when I was double checking. I'm gonna now imagine they're not playing any music. They are playing softball.
Well, I've seen people joke about Tyler pitching, and I'm like, is he like the opening pitcher? Like how they can get special like celebrity guests and stuff?
It should be Jim.
Yes, Jim.
Josh lives in Ohio now. Jim is probably in Ohio.
Yeah.
Jim should be the opening pitcher, especially after what he did with me with the shirts.
Oh yeah.
I'm still upset they didn't utilize Jim during the trench era and like have him put a cheetah costume on and run across the stage.
Cries. I think I would die.
During Pet Cheetah, it's just Jim on stage.
Yes, that's what I wanted.
Me with my Twitter @ being Pet Cheetah Live crying because it's Jim.
Yes.
Oh, so good. But yeah, that's about all the 21 Pilots news we've got. I think we're running into, we said this last episode, like a valley of 21 Pilots stuff because we're going to be getting a tour soon. So they're like, leave me alone. And I don't blame them.
They are during tour.
Also, I'm probably late to this, but I just saw on Josh's Insta story, has he had 2 nose rings for a long time?
At least for a while, yeah.
Okay, I guess I just was not caught up.
It probably depends on the angle you see it from too, because it's from there's just a car alarm going off outside. Hopefully you can't hear it too badly.
No,
I can't hear anything.
Okay, good. But if you look at it from the front, it probably blends into like one. But yeah, I think I don't know when he got the second one, but he's had it for a while.
Yeah, it took me a while to realize because like, side profile pictures, I was like, well, maybe they just like flip the pictures, so it's just on one side. But then I saw like a straight on picture. I was like, oh, he has one on both sides. Okay.
Yeah.
Him fancy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all for 21 Pilots news, unless you guys can think of anything else.
Nope, this week in news, there is no news. That's
not one singular tweet from Tyler.
The only news is this podcast. So
the only news is one day we'll end a giveaway.
Oh my word, don't even get that started yet. We're gonna rant about it for 10 minutes at the end of the episode again. So
it's just gonna keep getting worse until no, I can't wait for the day where we open up a podcast and we're like 21 Pilots news, not 21 Pilots news, Cliquecast news. Everyone can unfollow us now. We ended the giveaway.
We finally ended the giveaway.
How long has this giveaway been running?
Since our first episode. So Anna doesn't have Twitter, so she is unaware.
Yeah.
When our first episode dropped, we started a giveaway. We got an extra, I have it sitting right here, just like I do every week.
Oh,
the CD.
Black slip.
Yeah, because I wanted it and I bought an extra one. I was like, we could do a fun little giveaway. And we're gonna like also give away some like prints, like photo paper. So we're gonna get like, pictures of them and put that with it. And we were like 300 because we were almost at 200, I think, when we started it. So I was like 300, that'll be fine. It hasn't been fine.
We're at 286. No. I checked before we started. We're at 286.
Yeah.
It's like so annoyingly close, and we just keep every episode begging people to follow us. And like share the giveaway.
More pathetic.
Oh yeah. And you know how hard it is to peddle your wares in this day and age. So we're just yelling at people to listen to our podcast, follow us on Twitter, and let us end this giveaway so we can take it out of our pinned tweet and take it out of our display name. And no one's gonna recognize us anymore because it's not gonna be giveaway pin. It's gonna be actual just Cliquecast. It'll be great.
They're gonna be like, wait, I didn't follow this account.
But yeah, one day we'll end a giveaway. I'm shooting for August.
That's
pretty
only
a couple weeks away.
Oh, it's a whole thing. But yeah. So do you want to head and get us nope, that wasn't English. Let me try again. Do you want to go ahead and get us started on what you got?
Sure. Yeah. So this
let's start with your story, your 21 Pilots
story.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Guests get to do that at the beginning instead of having it tagged on at the end.
Okay.
It's the whole thing.
Yeah. So I found 21 Pilots in 2015, like a lot of people. I actually found them like a little bit before Stressed Out was like super huge. And I feel like that was in the fall, and I found them in the spring. I graduated high school, and my friends from church, Laura and Kate, they recommended 21 Pilots to me. Basically at my open house, I was like, I love music, give me band recommendations. And they gave that to me. And we've known each other since we were in the womb. So I was like, of course I trust their recommendation. And the first song I heard was Heavy Dirty Soul. And up until that point, I was used to like One Direction. Okay, so this was like very different for me in a good way.
Steep departure.
Yes. I was like thinking back now, I'm like, how did I just survive on like One Direction? I really don't know. Like there's not really any depth there. But yeah, I listened to that, and then I listened to the rest of Blurry Face, and then I kind of went backwards from there with the albums. And it wasn't until like the following year, my first year at my college, that I really started being a bigger fan. And the big reason that I like have my whole podcast about faith and my walk with God has been because during that year, like I wasn't really going to church much or reading my Bible much, but the one thing that I really felt connected to God with was Tyler's lyrics. And I really feel like Tyler has just helped strengthen and solidify why my faith is what it is. And he's also just taught me that faith is not just about like, oh, I'm happy and everything's good all the time, but actually like, you know, sometimes I want to yell at God and that's okay too. And I feel like I'd never like seen other Christians like portray their faith that way. And so that was really impactful for me and something that I wish more people would do more often. And so both spiritually and musically and creatively, they've just always really inspired me a lot. I love Josh a lot as well, of course. But I definitely resonate with the way that Tyler processes through his songs and everything.
That's
and
awesome.
I've also been to 3 concerts now. I'm going to go to a 4th. So my friend Laura, one of the 2, they're twins. So one of the ones that introduced me to the band, she's in Denver now. So she invited to fly me out there, which was so nice.
That's awesome.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh my God, true friendship.
I know. I was like, you did not have to do that. And we're actually going to Ogden Theater. So it's one of the smaller ones. So I'm like, how is this real life? I don't know. But
that's so cool.
Are you guys going to any of the upcoming shows?
Yeah, I'm going to the one in Boston, the Annis Theater. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
One of the smaller ones. I'm going to the stadium show in Chicago.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, one of my friends tried getting a ticket to Chicago, but it was like she got put on the wait list. I think a lot of people picked Chicago.
Yeah. I picked Chicago because I'm in Michigan. It was like the closest I could get. And so I signed up for all of the Chicago dates. And the only one I got was the arena. And I can't remember the name of it off the top. I think it's United Center. I really don't remember.
Center, yeah.
I'm like, I'm like, I'm going there. I have the tickets. Don't even know what it's called anymore. But that was the easiest Ticketmaster experience I've ever had in my life. It was, I remember I was because Michael, because it was Chicago time, Michael bought tickets an hour before I did. So
I was just angrily messaging you the whole time.
But then I got done in like 8 minutes and I was like, I have the tickets. And we were like, what just happened? I've never, specifically for 21 Pilots, this is going to be my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is gonna be my 6th time seeing them.
Nice.
All other 5 times were like pulling teeth to get tickets. And I was like, is this retribution? I started a podcast with a friend and I've seen him so many times. I spent so much money on them that they finally threw me a bone. But yeah, I'm so excited.
Like what your guys' tickets were like, but ours were like way cheaper than they've been before.
Yeah, mine was
I bought
$50 each, I think, like 54 and change or something like that. Yeah.
With taxes and stuff. And I also bought 3 of them, so it was a chunk of change. I think it came out to like $118 each.
Wow.
For all of the stuff, but they're really
good.
That's
still like not bad
each. I was like, you know what, whatever. I'd rather do it, and it's gonna be
Did you
2 of the
though.
No.
Oh,
but they're fantastic seats.
Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah,
that's why I was totally fine with spending that much money, because I've spent more money on tickets because you get scalpers in there. But I was like, you know what, whatever. I'd rather spend that much money and like go than not go at all. There was no way I was missing this, especially because I'm going with 2 friends who haven't been to a concert for them before, and they love 21 Pilots. We talk about it all the time. So I was like, you guys are going. We're going to Chicago.
Yes, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Do you think, is it confirmed there will be like another segment of the tour for other states?
It's not confirmed, but I think everybody's hoping.
Okay.
Even if it's not like another like leg of a tour, I think they're going to be doing something again soon. Yeah. Me and Michael have been talking about it, where there was an interview that Tyler did because he's a dirty liar who I love very much. They did a tour an interview right before they dropped the album. Was it the day of? It was a Zane Lowe interview. I remember I was home when it happened, and that
was a couple days before. I think.
Yeah, it was sometime around the album release in general.
Yeah.
They were talking about touring. It was before, because they didn't talk about the album. They didn't talk about the album that much. And Zane asked him about touring. He asked Tyler if right now your agent called you, or your booking agent called you and told you that you could go on tour starting tomorrow or something, would you do it? And he said no. And he said, I think if we're going to tour, we'll release another album and tour both. So that's why when they dropped the dates, everyone had a stroke, because it was the assumption that they weren't going to tour until at least 2022.
Yeah.
So I think if they do, I think the plan, what I'm assuming is, but assuming is the worst with these boys, we never know what's happening. You never know. Did you just catch a fly?
I'm sorry. There's been like a little fruit fly and it's bugging the crap out of me, and I thought I could get it. I don't think I did.
We're keeping that in for sure.
I believe in your ninja skills very much. You're gonna kill this. If you hear clapping, it's because Michael's a murderer. But no, so my vague assumption is that they'll maybe release another, not that Scale and Icy is small, but it's smaller for them album wise. They'll probably release another smaller album and go on tour with that, and it'll be a bigger tour, is the assumptions that I'm making.
Yeah,
I'll be going to that too.
I'm always impressed, like I feel like they're like have this goal of like every time they have a new tour they have to have a new album.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even mind going to see Scale and Icy. I haven't even been to this show, and I'm like, I'd buy a ticket to watch them play kazoos.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to be in a room with them, and like
I'd buy a ticket just to have them talk to us. Like,
yeah. Or just stand there. I'd almost pay for a ticket just to be in a room where we're all karaoke singing 21 Pilots. It's something about being in a room with.
Be so fun.
It's like it's something. Obviously, I love Tyler and Josh, but it's something about being in a room with that many like-minded people who all just care about this band so much, where I'm like, that's the most fun part. And then you get to yell and stuff. Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
It's good.
Now that we've
good transition.
Unrelated things.
Yeah, we're not known for our transitions on this podcast.
That's okay.
We're known for talking. We're known for talking too much and not knowing what's happening. This is the chaotic 21 Pilots podcast.
I think because I'm the one who edits, so I notice like all of our little things that we do.
Same for mine.
Realizing it. So Remus, I think especially the album songs, like if we're ready to move on to the next song, your transition is always, but anyway, so next we have.
It's like Swish is like, all right, so
yeah.
It's a good transition phrase.
Which is better than saying like.
I say like way too much. It's a bad habit.
I know.
I hate being the like girl, but
for someone who's studying communications, I'm really not good at talking. It's really funny. I'm like, I want to be a professor in this. Yet I put filler words every 2 seconds. I'm like, it's good.
Yeah, I remember because I had to take presentation class for my communication major, and we had to like immediately right after we go watch a video of ourselves, and it was like horrendous every time.
I did speech, which is basically the same thing. Filming yourself and then watching it made me want to throw myself out of a window. I was like, I'll watch anyone else speak again. It's not even like I did a bad job. It's just watching yourself give a speech is. I can listen to this podcast. I listen to this podcast because I don't see the final edit because Michael takes care of it, and then I forget everything we said. I can listen to myself talk. I cannot watch myself give a speech. Nope, absolutely not.
Same. It's kind of ironic. Like I'm like. Have always been terrified of presenting, but now here I am. Like I enjoy podcasting. So, yeah,
it's a much more chill environment to do a podcast than to stand in front of people. And I can't speak English.
I just hate when everyone is staring at you at the same time.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah,
not very fun at all.
Is there any other like introductory things?
I don't believe
think
so.
No, I think you're good. I think you can finally start what you wanted to talk about.
Okay. So last year for Tyler's birthday, I put together, I call it the gospel through 21 Pilots. And so again, like I'm someone who is very passionate about how Tyler is ultimately like portraying his faith through his songs. And so this is literally just lyrics. I did not add any words to this. I just organized all these different lyrics from their different songs to present the gospel. So I can read that for us.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
Where we're from, there's no sun. Our hometown's in the dark, and everyone's asleep, mind you. The start of a day when we put on our face a mask that portrays that we don't need grace. And then this is God speaking. Oh, misbeliever, my pretty sleeper, your twisted mind is like snow on the road. Your shaking shoulders prove that it's colder inside your head than the winter of dead. I will tell you I love you, but the muffs on your ears will cater your fears. As we near the end of land and our ocean graves are just beyond the sand, I ask myself the question why. I fall in line, and I know that I can fight or I can let the lion win. I waste all this time trying to run from you. I can feel your breath. I can feel my death. I'm the son of all I've done. Imposter. Hello. We haven't talked in quite some time. I know I haven't been the best of sons. Hello, I've been traveling in the desert of my mind and I haven't found a drop of life. But you specialize in dying. You hear me screaming, Father. I'm not free. I asked forgiveness 3 times. You're the judge. Set me free. And then this is like a time change. And then this is Jesus. The demon sat there waiting on her porch. Then I felt chills in my bones. The breath I saw was not my own. I knew my skin that wrapped my frame wasn't made to play this game. And then I said, I'll take the grave. Please just send them all my way. I will make you queen of everything you see. I'll put you on the map. I'll cure you of disease. And then this is a time change back to the original narrator. I began to understand why God died. We're broken people. I do not know why I would go in front of you and hide my soul because you're the only one who knows it. Then I sat up off the floor and found the breath I was searching for. Now the night is coming to an end. There were 3 men up front. All I saw were backs of heads, and then I asked them, am I alive and well, or am I dreaming dead? And then one turned around to say, we're driving toward the morning sun, where all your blood is washed away, and all you did will be undone. You will die, but now your life is free. Your redemption won't grow stale. We are now just setting sail, and I'll be holding on to you. So there you go.
That's so good.
So good. Wow. I didn't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that. That was amazing.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's funny because like
he wrote it all.
Well, you arranged it in such a way to where obviously we know these lyrics, you know, and we know these lyrics in the exact order in which they're presented in each song. But when you order them in that way, I'm like, I feel like I'm in church right now. I never noticed a lot of
in the best way.
No, a fantastic church. I have lovely fond memories of church. Like I feel like I'm in church. I'm like, but it means a lot. Where I'm like, oh.
It's just when cool. Like I love doing that, like putting all little puzzle pieces together and
absolutely. You could convince me that was in the Bible kind of, and I'd be like, yeah.
I even like I bolded the parts God was speaking like they do in the Bible and everything.
Yeah. That's so good.
I was a little too invested.
No, that's so fun though.
Yeah,
imagine
like,
you make like
see it written out. Like that's like you said, like, the talking parts are different. Yeah.
That could even be like really cool wall art. You blow it up and you frame it. Put it in like make it just look like a page out of the Bible with the specific font and the formatting. That'd be the colored, like the kind of sheer paper. Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's like Psalm 151. You know, it's the next psalm that wasn't
that's
there.
John. That's actually John 3:16.
Yeah.
My vacation Bible school training has just kicked in, and the John 3:16 song is going to be playing in the back of my head for the rest of the day until I probably sing it while I'm finishing
All
up
those
packing.
little like VBS songs.
Yeah.
It's been, oh God, VBS. I always forget about that.
Anna, what denomination church did you go to?
I am from a non-denominational church.
Okay. Did you ever go or hear about NTS?
No.
Okay. I went to a Wesleyan church. My dad was a pastor. He's not anymore, of a Wesleyan churches. And I asked Remus about this, I don't know, a couple episodes ago.
I'm also Catholic, so we're like,
okay.
I was raised Catholic. We're way over there.
But anyway, NTS was never the same camp, which they used to only have it in New York, I think at Houghton College?
Okay.
I don't remember. But I started going, because we're in the Midwest, they started one at Indiana Wesleyan. So my church would go to that one, which it was basically like whichever location was closest to you, because they have a couple now, like that's where your church would go. So you're there with like tons of other churches, and you're split up into teams, and there's like games throughout all the week where you get points. It's basically like the House Cup, but over a week.
Okay.
And you're like paired up with all these other people and other churches, and it gets wild. It was amazing and crazy, and I'm surprised people didn't die there because the games were so intense.
Yeah, no, I did. I don't know if you've heard of Young Life. It's like a national student ministry group. So I grew up doing that. And there were definitely times at camp when it would be like you're doing like an obstacle course or something, and you're like, I might die, but you know, it's fine.
I'll see if I can find any of the like recap videos and send them to you guys, because
oh yeah. We had something kind of similar called Sight, and it was specifically for my church, because it was St. Isidore Team Extreme, and it was basically that, but it was like we were Sight, and then they went to, I cannot think of the camp's name for the life of me. I can't remember it, but it's basically the same thing where we go out, and it's obviously about, you know, religion, and we like tried to be good little Catholics there, but you throw a bunch of teenagers in anything, and we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, but we're also doing a lot of what we're not, and it's just us yelling and throwing things and being way too into games, almost killing each other seems to be a very common thing for teenagers.
For sure.
Yes, I follow on Instagram Christian memes, and it is so funny. It is so funny, but I don't realize how, like, because Chris, my husband, he didn't grow up in church and stuff, so I am laughing over these super relatable to me memes and just pose, and he looks at me like, I don't get it. Especially the ones about like youth group getting crazy and out of control. He's like, that happened? I'm like, you don't understand, man. Like, it's crazy.
The craziest thing I did in like church was my church had a puppet ministry.
What?
It was literally just twice-ish a year. We would get together, and it was mostly for the catechism kids. Catechism is a Catholic thing, correct? I never know what's not Catholic. So it's essentially the Sunday school kids and like the younger ones who will understand and appreciate a puppet show. And it's like legitimately puppets, like not just little finger ones, like decent, almost Muppets level puppets.
Oh wow.
And it's these put together scripts and kind of religious cover songs of popular songs. It's a whole thing. So I don't know why I started doing it. I think it was just because it was a creative thing around. And so in 5th grade, I started doing it, and did it until I graduated and moved out from my church. And it was literally like puppets. I tell people that, and they think I'm insane. Or I'm like, yeah, I did the puppet ministry, puppets, and it was related to God. So like, it's odd, but like that was actually the most unhinged like group of people. I'm still friends with like half of them. unhinged.
That sounds like a fun bonding experience.
It was so fun. And then, because you practice so much and like we got these stages and we're messing with each other and hiding stuff. And then you have to be an adult, like when you're putting it on because there's children in front of you. And so you're like poking each other in the leg, trying to get your friend to laugh while they have a microphone and they're like head down like this, doing a puppet. It's a
Potter
whole
puppet
thing.
pals.
Literally. We did that a lot too we had little ones that looked like the Potter Puppet Pals.
Oh no.
What did they use for Neville? I still don't understand.
I'm trying to picture it in my head. It's been a long time since I watched Potter Puppet Pals.
He looks like a gourd or something.
Yeah, it was probably like a ping pong ball type ball. Maybe it was like a foam piece. Yeah. Poor Neville. Why is everyone doing Neville dirty?
I know. Have you, Remus, how far have you gotten into Swish and Flick?
I'm still in the first book.
Back to the real podcast.
Yeah, this is just everyone skip for a little bit.
I'm
this
not
is becoming
even
a Harry
Potter
Potter
podcast. Title this episode. It's been all over the place.
I think I'm on like episode
21 Pilots.
But anyway, Neville, there's that whole theory about how Neville could have actually been the chosen one.
Yeah, the only reason that Harry was the chosen one is because Voldemort chose him.
Yeah.
He became the chosen one.
Yeah.
Neville was under the same circumstances.
Yeah.
It could have been Neville.
Should have been.
Voldemort just decided it was James and Lily because he hated them specifically. Because he tried to get them to come to his side and they denied him.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay. As if going to James and Lily anyway. As if they would ever. This isn't Peter we're talking about.
The real question though is like, if it was Neville, like how does Snape work through all his stuff?
That's the thing. The only reason Harry was as safe as he was because Snape, nope, did I say Snape? The only reason Harry was as safe as he was because Snape told Dumbledore because he was worried about Lily. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. So yeah, I feel like if Neville would have been the one who was technically then chosen by Voldemort, I don't think Snape would have said anything. I think he would have stayed a Death Eater and they probably all would have died. Not that it's that different from what happened to James and Lily, but
what's so funny about reading the Marauders is that in like the books and the movies, I hate Peter and love Snape, right? But now in the Marauders, I hate Snape and like am loving Peter because he's just like
really
little soft boy.
The author's characterization of Peter makes it hurt much more because it's so easy when you don't get information from Rowling about the only information we get about the Marauders era really is through Snape, who I think has a very distorted lens.
Yeah.
So this author did a fantastic job of making you care for Peter. And I remember this, I think you were on like chapter 4 of All the Young Dudes, and you text me, if I'm going to have to sympathize with Peter, I'm going to lose my mind. I screenshotted them because they were so funny.
You being like, I cannot like Peter. I can't do this. And now
I
I'm
never
like
Peter
either. Something, and I'm like, oh, Peter and Desdemonia are so cute.
Literally, because the thing is, though, to realize how tragic it really is, you have to realize they loved Peter.
Yeah,
Peter at one point was a good person and one of their best friends. And it's like, I like to pretend he's not there.
I mean, was he a good person though? Because they weren't like the best 15-year-olds.
So well, to that group of friends, he was kind and fit in, and then something happened. But like, they loved him. They were buddies, and I'm like, ouch.
I know.
I would be curious to see more of like what made him a Gryffindor specifically.
I agree. That is interesting. I feel like of all people, at least early in life, Peter, he seems like a blank slate type of kid.
Yeah.
I think the author of this fan fiction wrote him as basically being the reason he was really in the Marauders specifically as like a friend group was because he was really close with James because they grew up near each other. And so I think he seems like such a blank slate character to me, to where the Hat probably didn't know what to do with him and went, well, you got a lot of love for your buddy over there, And I think he brings out good in you, so maybe being here will. I really don't know. It's kind of the same thing of like the opposite version of why did Neville go into Gryffindor? Neville went into Gryffindor and then earned his way into it. Peter had everything within him to grow into being Gryffindor and then chose to do that whole thing that he did.
Yeah.
That is a really interesting question. Specifically, why was Peter a Gryffindor?
Because if the hat saw all that in Neville, why didn't he see all of that in Peter?
I think a lot of it also comes down to J.K. Rowling likes to hate on Slytherins and anyone who isn't a Gryffindor. Yeah. If they're going to be a good guy, they have to be in Gryffindor for her story writing perspective. I think he probably shouldn't have been in Gryffindor logistically.
I still wish there was more Ravenclaw representation.
Yes.
Literally. Because there's no Ravenclaw, barely any Hufflepuff, and the Slytherins are mischaracterized. And so are the Gryffindors are mischaracterized too. They make them out to be the White Knights. And I'm like, no, they're just people. They're also bad people sometimes.
Wait, are either of you Gryffindors?
No. They're all kind of, I basically
Gryffindor I know in real life is like a pompous butthole.
I feel like Tiffany is not like that.
Still my friend, but no offense, you perfectly fit into Gryffindor.
I like grew up being a Hufflepuff, and then but every time I take the Pottermore test, it puts me in Gryffindor.
Oh,
interesting.
So I think I'm like just gonna accept the fact that I think I might be a Gryffindor.
Oh no.
Maybe I'm
maybe you're just a brave Hufflepuff.
Maybe, but because there's this really good test online where you take it, and it's like because the Pottermore one is wishy-washy. There's this one that goes really in depth to your actual character, and it's really long. It's like 100-something questions, and then it gives you a percentage. And I took it, and I got like mostly Gryffindor. Like Gryffindor was the highest, and then very close with Hufflepuff, and then Slytherin and Ravenclaw. Really, I didn't have much of that because I'm really neither of those. So it kind of just depends on the day. I'm basically both.
Huh.
Never I'm vibing with
test whatsoever, Pottermore or a fan-made one or whatever. I'm always Ravenclaw, like 100%. I've never been anything else.
I've usually been Ravenclaw, but I've also gotten Hufflepuff a couple times. So I don't know.
They're particularly good finders.
Oh, wow. Chris and I used to both be Ravenclaw, but then the last 2 times he's taken any tests, he's gotten Slytherin. And so I'm like, what changed? Why are you?
I always wondered. Well, the whole thing is too, the main issue that comes with, if we're gonna go with logical suspension of belief that magic is real, the Sorting Hat can look into your whole brain and life. Basically, an online test cannot do that. So when you think about it, like, was he ever truly a Ravenclaw? The hat might have seen that in him. He saw it in XYZ character.
Yeah.
I love the Sorting Hat. I would love to get really sorted.
Yeah. Yeah. Hear the voice.
I want to be a wizard.
No.
Terrifying.
Still waiting for my letter.
One day. It's like 11 years too late for me, but
yep.
It's fine.
Give me some wizarding higher ed.
Isn't there actually a wizarding like college or something where you can like get credits towards these like wizarding classes?
If there is, I'm looking into it because that sounds
amazing.
amazing.
I've never heard of that.
Where did I see that? I swear I did. It was, and like they wore robes and everything, and there was like Quidditch, which Quidditch is like a real life game. Figured out how to play it.
I love that.
I swear I saw this wizarding school. Where was it?
I'll have to look into that when we're done because that sounds
I think I've
amazing.
definitely heard like there's actually classes about Harry Potter and stuff.
No, it wasn't like it. I mean, obviously it was Harry Potter based, and like I think it had the same houses, but they had like Defense Against the Dark Arts classes and like potion classes, which I'm sure was like chemistry. But like I'm pretty sure it was like a college that you had to like pay to go to.
Interesting.
I don't know what kind of degree you would get there, but
if you see me move into my apartment and quickly move out, you know what happened. I found whatever this was.
Yeah.
Remus is moving to
send us an update when you move.
I've been waiting 2 years to move out of this apartment. I'm gonna be very happy moving to this one apartment that I've been very excited for, and then quickly peace off wherever this place is. I'm like, I'm going to pig farts. Goodbye.
Yes.
That's gonna bother me now. I can see it in my mind. I just can't remember where I saw it or the name.
You'll figure it out tonight when you're trying to fall asleep.
I know. I'm not gonna be able to sleep. I'm gonna have to
bolt
Google.
upright. I figured it out.
Anna, did you have anything else?
I was saying, do we want to move into
That's okay. Yeah, did you guys just want to like generally like talk album by album?
I don't even know.
Definitely. We definitely could.
Yeah.
Try not to make it like 12 hours long. But
I know. I told Remus before you got on, Anna, that today was a weird day for me, so I'm just
That's okay. It's a Monday.
Yeah, so I'm like, you know what, whatever you want to do. I'm very thankful that it's a guest episode today, so I didn't have to think.
Yeah.
So you
free think.
Yeah, I think in general, like, it's interesting. I feel like as the albums progress, like Faith is still, I would argue it's still very much present. It's just more abstract as the albums progress. And Self-Titled, I would say, is definitely like the most on the nose. You can see like him directly talking to God, or to me, like the songs, The Pantaloon, Johnny Boy, and Trapdoor, I would consider those like parables where he's kind of like taking a subject and having that have implications about spirituality or something. Something that I never considered until I started my podcast was Before You Start Your Day. And instead of like just having that be like someone talking to someone, like potentially it could be like the Holy Spirit talking to whoever the subject is. And so that, I don't know, just like putting on that spiritual lens over whatever the song is. Obviously, there's many more interpretations, but it just brings a whole new layer to their music. And I mean, it makes sense because they are Christians as well. Like, I don't think I'm just like trying to force these things either.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite things about them is, you know, I have a complicated relationship with religion, but so you can, all their stuff can really be brought back to God in some way, usually. But a lot of it I catch, like I have friends who like I have a friend who is Jewish, right? Does not know anything about Christianity. So we'll be listening to 21 Pilots like every once in a while, and I go, this song is heavy on the God vibes, and she'll go, what? And then I'll have her listen to the lyrics, and I'm like, and she's like, what? And so I explain things, and she goes, oh. So I'm like, okay, so people who don't follow religion or anything like that are getting other things out of this. I'm like, so
yeah,
you come from such a lens where I'm like, I mean, I can see how it couldn't be, but you can't ignore that this is about God. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, cool. This is interesting.
I guess with that, I am more so curious, like with lyrics, like, I'm trying to think what's the song? It's in the Self-Titled album where he's like, the blood, washing the blood clean, the blood. It's something that's like very obviously about God. And I'm just like curious how else that would be interpreted.
Let the water wash away all the things. No, that's
I'm so bad at like thinking of the
that's
tunes
no fun intended.
Randomly. So
let the water. That's no fun intended, I think.
Yeah.
Wash away. Oh gosh.
It exists. I know it exists.
Yeah, and I can like
no,
I in my mind, but
or like you hear me screaming "Father" like an addict with a pen. Like
I'm not here. Just
who
so
else
wash me
would
with your
that
water?
be? Like realistically, though, if not God.
No, absolutely. Where I'm like, but then I have talked to my friend about it because she loves Self-Titled also. Because it's me. I love them in general, obviously. You know, I have another friend who used to like them, doesn't like them as much, but she was raised Catholic also. And then we have our friend who's Jewish, and we love talking about this stuff because it'll be me and the one friend sharing a brain cell, and then my other friend being like, what are you talking about? because a song like Attic with a Pen will come on, and we'll go, this is heavy on the God vibes, and she'll go, what? And then she'll pay attention. And I'm like, what do you think that line means? Like, let the water wash away everything that you've become. In general, like that, that's not lyric. I'm lying here just crying, so wash me with your water. And she goes, oh, it just seemed like it's a definitely, she's like, I can see why you'd pull God from that. I could see that's probably what he meant. But that can just symbolize any relationship. He's talking about his relationship with God, probably. But she's like, I saw it as when you're with someone that cares about you and that you care about, it can be cleansing. And I'm like, okay, yeah. I see what you're talking about. That's really funny. Like Tyler's so good at writing lyrics to where he can be talking about that, but he doesn't want to alienate anybody because he wants everyone to be able to understand the feelings he's portraying in his music. Yeah. And also, you know, get whatever they need out of it.
Yeah.
And like faith-wise, obviously, like every relationship like emulates spiritual relationship. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's really cool. That's one of my favorite things about them. I always joke and call them specifically a Christian band to get on people's nerves. And they're like, what? And I'm like, you just gotta listen to it. I can't unsee the religion in this band. It's everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. Do you guys have any other like general thoughts about like how faith is portrayed in the self-titled album?
Not really. Maybe I definitely agree with you that it's way more, because even before self-titled, there's no fun intended, which Remus wrote down like a month ago. But in that one, it's
the most religious.
Wow. And then like, especially since the band started, it just gets more and more not there, but abstract, like you said, where you have to be kind of looking for it more.
Which makes sense, because I feel like Tyler's main goal has always been like make people think.
He even says, oh gosh, hold on, I'm chasing one singular brain cell. What is the won't tell you who I'm singing towards.
But metaphorically, I'm a
and
whore.
Also want to know what I believe, it's right here, dig a little deeper and it's crystal clear, like I'm the son of all I've done. It's stuff like that where he's saying I feel like at some point he felt shamed for talking about his religion
shows that.
And then I also think where it's I don't want to be a Christian like trademarked band where it's just we are a Christian band, because then it's like you don't have to have a relationship with God to understand the feeling of being lost in the world. Like he's like, it's so much more interesting to hear a song about a metaphor of water, but it's by itself, as opposed to being the water the Lord washed me with. That's a little too cut and dry for Tyler. He wants it to be, he wants you to think about it and come to whatever conclusions you want. He'll give you these lyrics, you think about them, and then you come out with what you come out with. I love that about him.
For sure. Michael, did you have any other thoughts?
No.
Okay. So regional at best. I love this album, and I still am like, I can't believe they like self-produced both of those albums. How?
Regional at best owns my soul. It's so good.
I feel like just the way that it's rough room production though is just like a beautiful depiction of just how, I don't know, just where they were at, like how uncertain everything was. Isn't that right when they became just the two of them too?
Yeah, because self-titled Josh is not on. Regional at best is when he comes in. So it's probably a lot of uncertainty just in what is this band going to become now.
I also just like how I feel like this album shifts a little bit, so it reads more to me as like journal entries, or just like specific prayers to God, or like a letter to a loved one with lovely, which I guess we kind of see a little bit in the self-titled album as well. But I feel like before it was more like talking about things in general, and this album is a lot more like first person, like talking about his own experiences and feelings and things, which I thought was interesting. I think specifically with faith, like childhood versus adulthood is big in this album, and like how you can have like this pure faith and imagination versus like the pessimism of reality and adulthood and like doubt and insecurities and everything with faith.
It's also like if you're raised in any kind of religion, when you're young, you're too young to think about that kind of thing. You just follow along with what your family does. But then you start gaining thoughts, no matter what they are, and you never stop having them. So I think that fits in with that a lot, where it's like, oh, I have to think for myself, for my own religion. That's a lot of thought. That's a lot of heavy weight to move around in your brain.
What was that like for you, like growing up in Catholicism? Because it's a lot more structured than like what I was used to.
I talk about it a lot. I love Catholics. My family's still Catholic. I have a lot of respect for the religion. The quickest way to make sure your child doesn't end up religious is to raise them in a Catholic church. It's very much, I didn't start thinking about my faith in my own terms until right before I was going to be confirmed, which is that being confirmed in the Catholic Church is when you basically become an adult in your faith. You know, when you do baptism and then you do your first communion, and that's just being able to take communion. You're in like second grade when you do that. So you're like a young kid. It's not that big of a thing. Roughly eighth grade. So when you're like 13, you do your confirmation. And it's this big deal. You get a sponsor. It's kind of like a second godparent type of deal. And you have to stand in this in your church, and you say, basically, I denounce Satan. I will be Catholic for the rest of my life. This is what I believe. And they don't, you know, you do catechism. That's kind of what all of catechism is building up to. You do all of this catechism. You work on other stuff, obviously, but the big thing, this is your catechism graduation. So but they don't prepare you with any critical thought, or at least I'm also speaking solely from my experience in my church, in my state. Like it's my experience here, but they did not prepare me for critical thought on my religion at all. To where I'm 13, standing in the dress rehearsal of my confirmation, and the priest is standing there, and my grandmother was my sponsor, and she's basically my mom. She raised me, and so we're both standing there, and my priest is talking to the sponsors and says, okay, sponsors, if the person you're sponsoring doesn't want this to be their life, now is the time. But the thing was, like, it wasn't like you can still get out, don't worry. It was oh, by the way, it was a very side note. And it was just, mind you, this is like the day before, and I'm like, I don't think I believe in what you're saying. At the time, I thought I didn't believe in God because I felt like I didn't know that there were other religions. I never knew, or other denominations, I should say, of Christianity. I thought I didn't believe in God because I didn't believe in Catholicism specifically. And it was just, ever since then, I've dealt with, mind you, I was 13. It's like 7-8 years ago now.
Yeah.
I don't know how to count, roughly. I'm 22 now. Math. Oh, 9. I'm old.
It's okay. Old. It wasn't your major, so it's irrelevant.
Exactly. But so I've had time to think of it through since then, where I realized, like, I don't know if I'll ever go back to belonging to a church. I do believe in God. I have a very interesting relationship with God at this point. But something about the Catholic Church is on its own level for very toxic behavior and not really teaching God's word at all, or what he wants us to be. It's like that's not what he cares about. No, it's being kind to each other is the most important thing, and so it's not great.
Yeah, I have a question. Feel free to answer if you want. For you and your family, did people really read the Bible much outside of church?
No.
Okay.
I've never once read the Bible all the way through.
Okay.
I'm planning on it. I actually am planning on doing that. I finally got a hold of my Bible. I had one, never really touched it. We didn't
Yeah,
really.
I don't know why. Like, one of my best friends is Catholic as well, and I just always got the impression like their Bible is like very sacred to them, and like they have one, but like it just never seems like the Catholics that I've grown up knowing like really actually open it that often.
No, because I saw it where, it's like a kind of a culture thing. It's like really cool where it's the Bible, it's the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen Christians who highlight it and talk about it in
Yeah.
Bible groups and know their favorite verses and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm like, the only time I heard, I've read the Bible like in passing in like catechism. Mind you, I'm a
Yeah.
child then. The only time I heard verses out of the Bible was in Mass when they're being read.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's so interesting to me.
It's funny because I forgot about that until you pointed it out. I'm like, yeah, we don't really focus on the Bible that much. It's there and it can be used to say, well, in the Bible they say this, and in the Bible they don't say that, but that's it. We don't really read it. Or at least I didn't. It wasn't. You went to catechism and you talked about it in what I think it ended up being vague terms to then cherry pick. It's a lot of cherry picking. It's really weird to me. I don't understand Catholicism.
Which is ironic. I don't know. That seems very ironic to me.
Catholicism is weirdly strict, and the rules are not the Bible. The rules are Catholicism. It's very landmine-y. You can't step in the wrong spot, or else everyone freaks out. It's an odd denomination. Not gonna lie. Got a lot of respect for it, but left me with a lot of Catholic guilt that I don't think I'll ever shake.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people go through that from what I've heard.
I think if I was raised any other denomination, I'd still be very strongly tied to the church, which is kind of interesting to think about.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I feel like all churches have their like cultural issues here and there for sure. But I mean, no one's perfect. So unfortunately.
I know. Makes it harder.
I also feel like regional at best is when they really start establishing their theme of like sleeping versus thinking. I feel like this like still continues even now, which is again like all about Tyler saying like I want people to think with this music. And something that I found in the Bible that I appreciated with this is Ephesians 5:14. And it says, wake up, sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. And I thought that just like emphasized really well this idea of sleeping is like more of this like passive unconsciousness versus thinking as being awake. And I feel like that's a big message that Tyler is trying to share with people.
They have a lot of different meanings too for the way they talk about being asleep and awake, because it's both asleep and awake for thinking, like you said, passive sleeping and active awake. But they also talk a lot about asleep and awake for anxiety and fear. Yeah. Where it's ode to sleep is talking about, it can also be talking about being asleep as shutting your brain off essentially. Yeah. But it's a lot about the demons live there at night. So it's really cool to see that dichotomy and kind of have to figure out which version of sleep and awake he's talking about. Yeah, I love that too.
There's many layers to that. There's so many layers to everything.
Oh yeah, they don't do anything half. It's all there.
Yeah. But I think those were my main notes on regional at best. If you guys had any other thoughts.
I was just gonna say
the regional at best in so long.
We're gonna get to soon.
I know.
Isn't Forest is on regional at best, correct? Forest is Trees 2.0, and that is about going to church. Can't change my mind.
Yep.
That song specifically is about the act of going to church. I love that song a lot.
I also see it as like heaven. Like, yes, we'll be like singing praises together that no one
hands held higher, will be on fire. Yeah. I think it's just in general being with people who share the same beliefs and love of God, and it's kind of like you don't need words to explain type thing. I love it. Yeah. It's just a really good visual of just being in a forest on fire, holding hands with people, singing songs that no one wrote. They just showed up one day and we all know them. It's a really good song.
Even just concerts in general. Concerts for me are very spiritual experiences anyway. Like
especially a 21 Pilots concert. Oh gosh.
Yep. That's a whole other podcast. But yeah, like how many other times in our life are we around that many people like enjoying the same thing at once and like not being like overtly negative or anything like that?
Absolutely.
Vessel. I feel like Vessel is unanimously a fan favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Such a good album.
Yeah. It was the first one I like physically bought, and I have it in my car.
I have the vinyl.
And I listen to it like every time. You have the vinyl? Where did you find it?
I think I got it on their website, but it was like 2016. So I don't know if they still have them.
I don't think so. No, not that
It's
I've ever
literally
seen.
the only vinyl that I own. Because I don't have a vinyl player.
Vinyl, and I'm waiting for them to release Psy on vinyl because I will buy it so fast.
Do they have
it'll be funky looking.
One?
They don't have them out yet.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I saw somebody like tweet about it, and somebody that like is official and works with them or for them or like on their creative team said like there were just complications with it because of COVID. So they're coming, but doesn't seem.
I feel like they're gonna look so cool.
Yeah.
Is it possible?
I want some cotton candy action.
Is it possible to like tie-dye a vinyl?
Yeah.
You can do things close to that, even if it's just pink and blue, and they do drops and stuff. Like, if these don't look cool, I'm rioting. I don't even know. I wouldn't even buy one. I don't have a record player, nor do I collect records. But I just for the logistics of it, they need to look cool.
Yeah, for sure.
We have a record player and lots of vinyls, mostly from my grandparents. But it's so cool. Like hearing music on vinyl, especially Trench, it's so cool because like the first two songs, like they can be listened to just all as one because the end of one leads into the beginning of the other. And I didn't even realize that until I listened to it on vinyl because it just came through so much better and so much cooler on that. So that's my plug for if you like music, you should get a record player.
Make sure you buy a good quality record player though, because the ones that are like the suitcase ones will mess your records up so badly. That's why I haven't bought one, because I don't have the money to spend on a nice quality one. And I will not buy a cheap as in bad quality. I'll buy a cheap one. Hit me up with your cheap good record player recommendations. I will not buy like a Crosley suitcase one that'll ruin things.
Yeah, we didn't have one for the longest time. Like I had inherited vinyls from my grandparents, but we didn't have a record player yet. Yeah. And so we asked for one for Christmas 2 years ago because we were like, that's the only way we're going to get a nice one is if somebody gifts it to us. And they did, and it's been so nice. So cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah,
I still buy
when I'm like doing chores and stuff around the house. Like if I listen to music on my phone, I'm tempted to like look at my phone and switch the song.
Yes,
I can just throw an album on, and flipping the record like gives me a little break every 20 minutes or whatever it is. So we're plugging to get a record player if you like music.
That's like I buy CDs still every
album. I love buying CDs. Yeah.
I don't drive. I don't have a car. I have my yet. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm 22. I should at some point. But like
I just bought my first car, so
I don't even
24.
have a license.
Oh,
but
nice.
like I buy CDs still. I bought Skilled and Icy. Like it was I bought that and this hoodie the second the stuff dropped. I'm like, why? In this day and age with aux ports, I still don't even need it. But I'm like, it's funny that there are artists out there who don't make CDs anymore.
Oh, that's sad. I still regularly buy CDs.
There are people I like and listen to. I can't think of them off the top of my head. There's like 2 or 3 bands that I want to buy a CD from, but they don't sell them. And I'm like, what? CDs? CDs? Okay.
It's ironic. Like they wouldn't have CDs, but they have like vinyls and cassettes now.
The way in which I was tempted to start buying cassettes, I'm not going to. I don't need to spend more money. But if I were to start collecting something, it would be cassettes because I am that obnoxious. I'd skip vinyl and then I just go straight for cassettes. I'm gonna get tooth tunes. That's how I'm gonna collect stuff. Those toothbrushes that play music. Remember those?
No, what?
Neither of you guys.
I feel
Oh
like
my gosh.
I've heard of them generally.
They're like a toothbrush that have like a spring type action. Not like hard, but like when you brush your teeth, you're putting pressure on the back of like the stick part.
Yeah.
And it connects. I'm assuming technologically it connects something and it plays music. Not loudly, and it kind of travels it into your teeth so that it's in your brain, that kind of thing.
What?
And it's
Interesting.
It sounds so, I'm describing horribly, but it plays kind of more in your head than it does out loud, and it's timed perfectly to brush your teeth in that amount of time.
What futuristic technology is this?
I had them as a kid. Hold, I'll just send you I'll just send like an old commercial.
Brushes that transmit songs into your brain.
Well, because if you like, you could try putting like a headphone in your mouth. If you like touch it to your teeth, it's through your bones. Kind of, it's weird that's how sound works. You can still hear it. It's not like it's hardwiring into your brain stem.
Sounds like cancer.
The real microchips was the tooth tunes.
They're on to us.
No, okay. Tweet us at @click_cast if you've heard of tooth tunes, so we can convince Michael and that I'm not crazy.
What's your favorite tooth tune?
They had like Hannah Montana and stuff. It was when I was a kid, so it was like maybe not Justin Bieber. I don't remember which one I had. It was like a Sweet Life of Zach and Cody theme song type beat.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I forgot about those until right now. I promise you I'm not crazy and these existed. I'll send you a link to a commercial when we get off this
I know
call.
they existed. I just didn't know anyone who had any.
No, I think Michael thinks I'm crazy, so I'm gonna have to prove it.
I don't even know what to think of this. I think it's the whole transmitting it into your head thing that
I promise you it's not that crazy. I'm explaining it horribly. Like have you ever used an electric toothbrush?
Yeah.
It's the sound sounds much louder to you when you're brushing your teeth than what it sounds like. It's that.
Maybe I'm just deaf. I don't know.
It's just things
maybe my
through your
transmission's off. My chip is broken.
Did you get vaccinated? That was supposed
maybe
to be
you did have one and it messed with your brain.
I guess.
That's so funny. Yeah, no, I promise they existed. That was a very long roundabout way to say that I like to collect archaic and stupid music. Oh, right. Because you're talking about vinyls, we talked about cassettes and how I would collect them. No, I'm gonna start collecting tooth tunes.
And now we're talking about vaccinating ourselves to get microchips.
Yep, we've come full circle.
So chaotic.
Just a PSA, I do not think that the COVID vaccine gives you a microchip. I am happily vaccinated and am microchip free.
Just Johnson & Johnson does.
Johnson & Johnson has its own thing going on, but Pfizer gang.
Hey.
Those of us at Cliquecast believe in sound science and that you should get vaccinated.
I'm Anna and I support this message.
This is TOP debate round 2. Who's getting tattooed this time?
All of us, because only the vaccinated people, because they're the only winners.
They should have done a debate with like based on like vaccine debates. Missed opportunity.
Off the rails.
They need to do another TOP debate just because it'd be funny. They would never do it because they would never repeat themselves, but
they need to do another Happy Wheels video too.
They need to finish explaining any story they started in Happy Wheels. Yeah. They start about 7
cruise
stories.
Ship one.
The cruise ship. They never explain why they're making the video. They start at the beginning and they never finish. I didn't notice it until I watched it again with Michael because you hadn't really seen it, and I was like, they really don't finish a singular story in this.
Yeah.
There's some good-looking chicks here. They're like,
get on the bed. I mean, couch. That's why they're so quiet.
My word. Yeah, I had never watched those videos and Remus showed them all to me.
Oh my gosh, that was like the first video I was shown.
Out by the time this comes out, but yeah.
We had a little watch party. It was very chaotic.
And it'll
just
be
because the
video too.
I wonder if Rosie's watched like all of the music videos.
Oh, probably.
Just in her free time. I want to watch watch Dad's video.
Cries.
I can't wait for her to like fully realize that he's a musician and like is known, because obviously she's growing up with it. She's been down in his studio. Like she's gonna grow up knowing that like Dad writes.
It'll be when she realizes that not everyone's dad is a musician.
Yeah, when's she gonna realize, wait, you don't have a recording studio in your basement?
Yeah, exactly. She goes over to her friend's house and she's like, so where's your dad's recording studio?
Yeah.
I love her so much. I can't wait till she's old enough to like sing like kind of on command. I hope to God she's on an album.
Yes.
Could you imagine
if she wants to?
Voice, that's gonna be funny.
Even better. We talked about that in our Scaled and Icy predictions. It was our first actual episode where we were like, I need Rosie to sing on this. I don't think it'll happen, but it needs to. I still need it to happen. You're not off the hook, Tyler Robert Joseph.
Faith-wise, I was kind of hoping there'd be like a father parallel song, but still waiting on that one.
I also I was listening to your podcast and I got to you were talking about their next album. I forget which episode it was in, and you were saying how you need a Josh Dunn lyric.
Yeah, they didn't do that.
Come out, and I was like, oh, future her is so disappointed right now.
So it's like we did the Scaled and Icy predictions, and
come on, they had to.
Well, yeah, the entire episode, me and Michael are talking about things that might happen, and they're either outlandish or like actual predictions. And one of the things we said, knowing with like full confidence, well, there will be a Josh Dunn lyric.
Yeah.
I wonder where it'll be and what type of Josh Dunn lyric.
That was the only thing that we thought we could be 100% sure of. Is there's going to be an album and it's going to have a Josh Dunn lyric. We were like,
and then we rolled up into our. We rolled up in the next episode. The only thing we read about was that there was an album coming out. Yeah. And we were like, cool.
I wonder if that is just like coincidence or if it has to do with Dima or something.
I don't even know.
I wonder if Tyler even realized. I wonder if he even realized like that he accidentally set up a precedent for himself. I wonder if he realized that we were expecting one.
He definitely did when he did it the second time.
And then they made a really big point out of pointing it out in the live shows because they put him on a drum island and had visuals that say Josh Dunn.
Yes.
What? Tyler, of course we wanted a Josh Dunn lyric. It's Josh. He needs a lyric.
Next time there needs to be a Tyler Joseph one.
No. It'll be Tyler. It'll be Josh grabbing the mic and going, Tyler Joseph.
Yeah. Like Tyler can't say his own name. So that'll be the one time Josh says something.
Yes.
It's okay. He got the high note in Saturday.
Yeah.
Because there's no video. There's no video proof that Tyler sings that high note. Yeah. All we got is Josh. Josh sings the high note in Saturday.
You never know.
Do we want to talk about religion in Vessel?
Sure. So there's still like a couple like more direct to God songs like Holding On to You and Trees. And then with Migraine, I saw like this theme of waging wars kind of and just like spiritual warfare, but especially in this album. I feel like they established this idea of like mental health, faith is like a daily battle and you have to either like actively fight against it or you'll like fall prey to it. I feel like faith and mental health complement each other well in that way, and that's a big reason that they're always talking about both.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then I also just noticed like with Screen and Fake You Out, there's kind of this theme of like facades in this album too, like trying to act like you're better than you actually are doing, or just facing that tension of like how honest to be with people. And I'm someone who went to a Christian college, so it was like the typical like Christian white female, just like, hi, how are you? Good. Like you just like say that all the time, but like
me too.
Just trying to break that down and be like, okay, like actually I'm going to try to start being more honest with people.
Yeah.
It's kind of that, like you mentioned it earlier, that a lot of people need to be more honest and open about their struggles with faith. Because if we all just pretend that no one's ever struggled with faith, everyone's going to feel terrible for when they inevitably do. Everyone struggles with everything in the world. Of course they struggle with their own faith. Life is a struggle. So like, why aren't we being honest about being like, yeah, I fell from God for a second there.
Yeah.
Working my way back up.
Yeah, just like with testimonies in general, like I think a testimony goes till the end of your life. It's not just like, oh, I found Jesus, we're done, happy ending. And like, I feel like there is that weird stigma of like, oh, well, you put your trust in Jesus, so everything has to be fine now. Like, no, you're still gonna have plenty of hard times. Like,
well, yeah, because there are other people in the world. It's not just you and Jesus.
And there's brokenness in the world, inevitably.
Yeah, there are so many hateful things in the world that, because humans have free will, cannot be fixed with faith. The only thing that can be hopefully fixed with faith is your own mentality, and even that's hard to deal with. So it's like, yeah, life is hard. Let's stop pretending that it isn't, because it's going to make everyone feel worse. If we all just started being honest, we'd all feel a bit better.
Yeah, just because you're a Christian or whatever doesn't mean that you're exempt from doubt or anger or conflict or anything.
Oh yeah, and then it's like, you don't want to be judged where it's, I faltered, or I'm struggling from something that isn't related to faith, and they're like, well, are you putting your faith in Jesus properly?
Yeah,
it's like,
the
that's
other
none of your
thing,
business.
My big soapbox that this also reminded me of is like, especially within Christianity, there's this idea that like mental illness somehow means you have a lack of faith. Oh my gosh, that is so problematic.
There are full people who believe that mental illness comes from the devil possessing you because you're not a strong follower of Christ.
Yeah.
I've had that told to me many times.
Definitely, it could, like, who knows? It could be slightly influenced by whatever, but it's definitely not like the devil possessing you.
It's also like a medical thing. Like,
depending, it's like hormonal or
it's brain chemistry, it's balance, situations. Like, mental illness and faith are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah. I've had the same also said to me about like my physical illness as well. And I was just like, because at my last
have you tried praying? And you're like, yeah, actually.
Thanks.
Because right before I left my last job, because of my physical illness, my coworker was like, well, I went through something similar, and I just found that it was because I had strayed and hadn't been going to church enough. And as soon as I started going back to church, I got so much better. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad that worked for you, but that's not what's going on with my body. Like, I promise.
Yeah.
I was like, I was basically born with arthritis. Like, have you tried praying? And I'm like, yeah, I pray a lot, actually. Yeah. My relationship to God is none of your business. People look at me and they assume that I'm not faithful, which is really funny to do. Oh, I love freaking people out. I get those people who come up to you unsolicited and they want to pray for me because I'm wearing like crazy ripped black jeans and look like a 12-year-old emo boy. And I'm like, oh, my relationship with God is perfect for me and him. So thank you very much for your worry. Yeah. I appreciate it. I know what I'm about. Like, don't look at me and assume.
That's also very surface level.
I'm like, obviously you're not paying much attention either. Like, can I pray for you? Because you need some help here.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I love freaking people out like that. Telling people I'll pray for them and they're like, ugh. And I'm like, yeah.
No, I'm good, actually. You don't need to do that.
You don't have to look a certain way to believe in God.
Yeah, no.
Who'd have thunk it? I don't know.
Actually, you need like a big fancy dress and one of those big, like floofy fancy hats.
I was thinking about getting a Pope outfit
all the time. Yeah, hey, that too. That works.
I'm gonna start dressing like the Pope. Whole hat. Give me a Pope mobile, and I'm just like, sup, I am essentially God.
Then it's like creepy. Like my book club, we were just reading The Handmaid's Tale, and you have stuff like that where it's like scripture is being incredibly misused and abused, but then it's like scary because it's like some people do that sometimes.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh, so bizarre.
How can you like judge anything just based on like looking at someone, or like whenever I like hear someone trying to like debate if someone's actually Christian or not, I'm like, you can't do that. Like, that's not for
The only
us
thing that
to
tells
know.
you if they're a true Christian is in their brain and with God. Like, people
not
can be
between
lovely.
you and them. Like,
It's a one-way relationship. Like, that's it. Like, no one else affects your faith. Nothing else. Like, nothing controls that. Like, what?
I mean, I feel like a big thing too, like that my dad always talks about and reminds me, is like you can tell people's faith is genuine when they like produce the fruits of the spirit. Like if someone's not producing the fruits of the spirit, that's a little concerning. But yeah.
It's just people who find it more important to worry about others' relationships with God and faith in general.
I mean, if they're
That's
focusing on
concerning.
other people, that's a whole different issue.
Like, are you ignoring your issues then?
Yeah.
Like, I think you need some help with your relationship. Everyone struggles. Stop pointing at other people's to make yourself feel holier than thou, literally. Like,
yeah, that's its own issue.
You can never know what someone's journey looks like.
Yeah.
Stop trying to pretend you can.
Some people are called to like share the word and, you know, bring others to God, but that doesn't mean you go up to them and like just start harassing them about it, or like tell them, well, maybe if you prayed more and then you'd feel better, you know, like you can talk about God and like try to tell other people about your faith and how to strengthen theirs without being like, well, you just need to do better. You just need to be a better person, you know?
It all comes down to consent. Are they consenting to having this conversation with you in that moment?
Yeah.
Are they consenting to hear your thoughts on their religion and their faith and their thought process? No. Like, most time, no. Unless they're coming to you for counsel, you should probably bite your tongue. Maybe think about it a little more. Maybe pray about it a little bit.
Can we also talk about the very debilitating idea of praying the gay away?
Bye. Gotta go.
Hasn't worked in 25 years.
I've been like this my whole life. I've tried to pray it away. It's not gonna go away. I've tried very hard.
And again, with like all those different situations, there may be occasional times where like God does decide to like perform a miracle or something, but like that's definitely not the baseline for everyone. And
it's so odd too, where I get that a lot too, where I've thought about going back to church in general, like physically going, because I miss that community type feeling within faith. But I have to think about it where I'm like, not only am I not straight, I am not cisgender, and that's scary to try to find a community that one advertises that they're open and welcoming, and then possibly get like hurt. Like the consequences of something like that going wrong can be catastrophic. That could be bodily injury, something like things happen to people like that, where it's like, I don't know, you don't know who you can trust sometimes, where I'm like, that's terrifying, where I'm trying to find solace in my faith and that could literally kill me for who I am. Interesting. I don't like that. One of these days I'll find a place like that that's cool, but it's so scary.
Definitely good to be like wary and aware of like when hypocrisy is taking place.
Because a lot of it too, it's not about the religion, it's about people. Some people just aren't correct.
I think for some people though, it genuinely, like, they just probably aren't super emotional or like very understanding about it because they don't have anyone they personally know.
Oh yeah,
because
that usually doesn't bother me.
Easier to be like emotionally removed from something if you don't have an emotional connection, which is obviously like not a good thing. Like, it's good to be friends with all people.
Well, a lot of it too, it's like, I don't care what your thoughts are about whatever my life is. It's the people who have such strong opinions that they will assert them in different ways.
Yeah.
even like words, I can take talk all day. I'm good at talking back. It's like I've been threatened with physical injury. I won't go into it because it's like it's not that important, but like things like that have happened to me where it's that's something I cannot defend myself from. Yeah. So it's like people like that who feel so strongly that I don't belong somewhere like that, that they're willing to hurt me for it. Or I'm like, I need you to look at your own thoughts and your own faith. Why would anything involved there think that's okay, that we're hurting people for who they are? Read the Bible for me just like once. I can find you 8 billion bits that'll tell you that you're in the wrong for this, and I want you to pray and think about it and find your humanity, because that's not correct. Yeah, it's not what God wants for us.
One of my favorite parts of the Bible is Psalm 139, and it talks about your form was not hidden when you were made in your mother's womb. And I think that's just a beautiful depiction of how we should treat people. Yeah.
It's just like, it's so bizarre to me that he who cast the first stone, you know, like it's relax.
You have a log in your eye.
It's so bad. That was in glass houses.
Yeah.
Relax. I got this. I don't need your opinion of what I'm doing. I'm very happy the way I am in all regards. I got this.
Yeah, I can't imagine, especially if it's like people you really don't know at all,
or even worse, people you've trusted for a long time. It's just, nothing about it's good. Yeah, I've done it before where I've gone into like churches around me that I've with other people. Usually I tend to go with other people. I haven't really gone anywhere alone like that because I get nervous.
Yeah,
but even that, like, I don't make it known. Like, I'm not walking in going, hello, I am gay, or something. Like, I'm just vibing, but you get vibes.
Wear the pride flag as a cape.
I wear a pride flag and I bring a megaphone and I announce it. It's a whole thing. I roll out a red carpet. The gay is here. Yeah, but where you're just like, I've gone to like one service and they're like, and that's why we hate the homosexuals. And I'm like, I gotta get out of here. I'm in the Bible Belt of Michigan though, so it's like can be very dodgy on what kind of word we're preaching in some places. Or I'm like, would you look at that? I gotta go water my goldfish.
Get me out of here. Sort my socks.
I cannot be here right now. If they turn around, they're gonna look at me and they're gonna clock me. They're gonna be like, that's a gay. I'm like, yeah, actually, lovely to meet you. He made me this way.
He's not surprised.
I'm here to antagonize you specifically.
That's what you need. You need a shirt that just says he made me this way and wear that to church.
Yeah. I would love to do that when I go home, because I'm going to be dragged to a couple Catholic masses, which I'm like, I rolled up to Christmas. Everyone's like,
are you? So I didn't realize you're like allowed to if you're not Catholic anymore. I feel I've just heard they're still like very strict about like, I guess I've more so heard like communion, like you cannot take communion unless you're Catholic.
Communion you can't, unless not that you're not Catholic, you can't take communion unless until you've had the sacrament of first communion. That's it's not you just, that's the steps that you take. But so I'm confirmed in the Catholic Church. That was never. Okay. I realized I never finished that story. I ended up getting confirmed, and technically I'm still Catholic, even though I do not practice specifically Catholicism. I'm not really Catholic, but I am Christian-ish, figuring that out. But so I go to Catholic mass still every time I'm home with my family, because they also don't know that I'm not Catholic specifically. I don't know. They're weirdly very Catholic for some reason. Like, they get upset when I talk about not being specific. I don't know why. I'm like, I still believe in God. What? Yeah. But so I go home and I go to Catholic masses, and every time I'm like, this is such a weird, like, there's so much Latin. So much Latin, so much specific stuff that I'm like, I've gone to other churches before and I'm like, what is going on? This is what you do? And they're like, yeah, what do you do? I'm like, I'm taking you to a mass. We're gonna go sing in Latin, and like, it's boring. It's so boring, and everyone's old, and all the songs are bad. And a lot of stuff, it's just a lot of talking. That's it. I'm like, you guys have it good. I was raised, 7 years old, wanting to lose my mind in a Catholic
I
mass.
can't
Like,
imagine like not having like a children's ministry and having to sit through that everything.
we had one, but my grandma didn't like it when I went because she wanted me to be with her. And like it was a sweet moment, but I was like bored, 7 years old, wanting to pull my teeth out because I was so bored and confused because I didn't know what anything was. Oh God.
Yeah, so I grew up, my dad grew up in a Catholic family and he used to be Catholic. So and he's not anymore. And so our family would go to like weddings or funerals or whatever with my grandparents and stuff. And
Not
so
the Catholic wedding.
we were not allowed to take part in communion because we are not of the Catholic Church. Yeah.
You had to walk up
actually,
like
there was 1 week because it was like early 2000s. It was a lot longer ago. There was 1 week where my dad let us go up and take communion. And then afterwards, my uncle was like really mad that we had done that.
It's not like it's not like you're gonna get yelled at. It's more like a societal judgment type of thing where if someone knows you're not Catholic, the funny thing is too, it's such a structured ritualistic mass. You can kind of tell when someone doesn't know what's going on. There's specific ways when you go up to communion, you walk a certain way, you hold your hands a certain way, you bow a certain way, you say certain things where it's like that's the most you're gonna get is probably judgmental stares where it's like, I don't know if you're new here, but we don't really do that when you haven't done the sacraments fully. So it's like, but it's not going to be like and then you get punted out of the church. They're going to be like, well, they'll probably give you a pamphlet and be like, consider Catholicism. Consider having your first communion so you can be closer with the Lord. I'm just like, that's about all you get. I've taken it. I took it before when I was younger too, like before I had my first communion, because my grandma is a Eucharistic minister.
Oh,
so like,
okay.
She would just be like, come here, because like I would be like, it would just be me and her in the church. Like no one was there to watch me, and so I'd have to go up with her, and she was like, here you go. So I'm like, thanks for the God.
That's funny.
Communion's such an odd. The more I think about the Catholic Church, it's like such a weird thing. I love it. I miss it a lot just for the vibes. Still got my rosary up on my wall. Like, I'm with you.
Nice. Yeah, my friend Fran, she one of her apartments she was at, she had like a little holy water thing by the door. So every time she'd come in or go out, she would do that.
Random side note, just because I thought about holy water and doing the sign of the cross thing. My favorite, every once in a while, like on TikTok, a dance will become popular that involves, I think there was one.
Really?
No, it was it's a very inappropriate sound, but it's I'm getting ripped tonight. R.I.P. that. And a swear word. Hey. So it's R.I.P. that. And my favorite was watching people who don't know what the sign of the cross even is mess it up because they're not even sure what they're referencing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's wild. Because I said seeing people just be like, head, shoulders, knees, toes. What is that? Where I'm like, it's the sign of it's Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. I'm like, I love it. Or like random things like that bleed into culture where I'm like, yeah, you do the sign of the cross when you walk into a church. It's so funny. Peace be with you and with your spirit.
So blurry face.
Oh yeah. I just knocked my whole camera setup over.
A lot of people came into. That's the one I came into.
Yeah. Did you guys both come in during? Okay. Yeah.
I was in right before I slid right in right before it came out. I watched Blurry Face get released, which was so fun.
Oh, okay.
That was the first album I like got to experience happen.
When did it come out?
2015.
Yeah, like what part of the year was it? I'm trying to think.
May. It was right before, it was right around my birthday is the only reason I remember, because it leaked, and for a birthday present I let myself listen to it.
Oh, the leak. Nice.
My dad, like, I was like feeling really guilty about listening to a leak, and he's like, it's not like you're not going to listen to it when it comes out, listen to it. I was like, okay. So I on my birthday I let myself listen to a leaked version of Blurry Face. Yeah, it was like roughly May of 2015.
So Blurry Face is more of a conceptual album, which they've kind of done since then. And as we know, it's like a symbol of like his insecurities and his doubts and everything. So that to me, like spiritually, it reminded me of how like as Christians, we're two halves. We're like a wretched sinner and we're also redeemed. And Earth is just weird because we're both at the same time somehow. And so I feel like the concept of Blurry Face kind of like what's the word, like it just kind of bleeds into the idea of the more like wretched sinner side that's not of God, and that is more like insecure and dwelling on things that are not true and dwelling on things that are not good for us as well. And this also is a very like mental health heavy album. Once again, just like truth versus lies as like big themes. And then I also feel like the more I thought about it, this kind of is more of a mature sound like going forward, because like in the self-titled and regional at best, I feel like the songs in general are more like focused on what he specifically is going through, or like the people around him. It's just, to me, they're like more him focused. And in Blurry Face, it's like taking what he's going through, but then putting it into like a larger picture of like what everyone's going through. So like, we don't believe what's on TV in hometown. Just kind of that maturity of like, yeah, what I'm going through sucks, but also it's like playing into a bigger picture of like what we all go through. And just getting to use the crappy stuff in our life to also like remind others of like the lows that we're all going through together.
Yeah,
absolutely. I see a lot of it too, where it just like you said, two faces is kind of a theme that comes up even before Blurry Face itself. This was kind of the manifestation of a couple years worth of trying to understand a concept that he was going through, where it's two faces in general. And the funny thing is, the first time we get two faces is I wish that I had two faces to prove which theory works, yelling in the street corner or cleverly masking your words. I find that a lot, it alludes a lot to sharing the word, where it's, I want to, like, I could just stand here and yell at people and say like, repent for your sins, death is coming to you, you'll go to hell, or cleverly masking your words. It both of them have kind of a negative connotation in ways, but that's kind of the first instance we get of two faces. But it can also just a lot of things in faith are double-sided, and it kind of shows it like that. And I find it really interesting. It's such a cool concept of an album.
Yeah, I like that too. I like how he like put something more abstract into an actual like character.
And it's just you can see the breadcrumbs leading to, and it wasn't even like, I'm sure it wasn't even fully intentional, where he's like, I'll mention this in the first album, and then 3 albums later I'll do this. It's like you can see him fully forming his thoughts. I love that a lot. I love how they're very intentional with how they create their concerts too, or like even like with Blurry Face, the makeup has very specific meanings and everything. I just resonate with that a lot because I love metaphors and symbols, and I love how Tyler just like lives his whole life as a metaphor or a symbol. I love it. No, it's so cool. It's cool because like this album can kind of be seen as a predecessor lore wise to Trench, just because it's the only lore we got at that point. Vessel, nothing before I had lore, and then we get lore and we're like, what? And so it's kind of like, this was our dip your toe in the water type thing, for like, you got no idea what's coming next, and a lot of it connects, right? I think he's just expanding upon ideas.
I still really want him to like write a fantasy book about this whole world so badly.
I need the Trench Bible, is what everyone's calling it. I need that. People are saying he's got a really big document of some sort, whether it's physical or like an online document. That's a lot of stuff about Trench and its lore. And I'm sure it's just for reference for like, crew and people involved.
Like maybe just because of like all the lore and like the website they made and everything, it seems like Trench was like the most fully formed like concept out of all the albums.
Well, yeah, because then we get Skilled and Icy really is just continuation. But this was just I think about it a lot where I'm like, we're technically moving on to Trench, but like it was just a dump of so much. I remember being like, we were all a fan of them by that point, and you're just like, what is happening? Because we thought Blurry Face was a lot. Blurry Face, when I remember it being released, it was kind of scary. I've talked about this before. I'll skip the whole thing where I'm like, but Blurry Face at the time, we were like, this is huge. And then Trench came out, we were like, what?
This is somehow bigger.
It was insane. Where it was like this website that made no sense. And like, what's Dima?
How did we don't get a lot of information. Find the website? I don't remember.
So on the they've not old, but like they've refreshed it since then, like changed it. The merch page, I think. Something on 21 Pilots website. There was a GIF on one page, and one frame of the GIF was a website link. And it was the error code link. You type it in, it says like FPE, it's the error code, then that's where we got the violation code that you put at the end of dma.org. And then that's how you get into the website. I don't remember. I remember it being found and crashing the website within seconds, because not only did the website crash, it was just the error message crashed because none of us could figure out how to get in yet. And it was like the smart people who like found out that it's just the error or violation code at the bottom. But like even that was insane. We're like, what are they talking about? Because like months before, Josh had mentioned Dima. He was like, yeah, Tyler's off severing ties with Dima, and none of us even paid attention to it. So then this happened. We're like, oh my gosh, that's Dima. Okay, cool. Like that's how we figured this out. It came off a year hiatus, basically, to info dump us on Clancy with a cryptic website. These boys stress me out.
You guys will have to help me out when I get to Trench and everything. I have to somehow like recap all of the lore and everything, and I'm like, I feel like I have never gotten a hold of everything.
The thing too about Trench, he said, is I think he said this in it might have been in the Discord interview that he did. I'm really not sure. He said the beginning thoughts of Trench were, what would a godless world look like? So we're starting already with that, and instead we get this kind of religious kind of cult. It's vialism. He created a religion, kind of. He doesn't like to talk about it like that, but like he invented a fictional religion for this, and it's vialism, and it's fake heat and fake light is really what it comes down to. It's worshiping neon.
That sounds like a car torch of death, like fake little torch.
Yep. But literally that's when it comes down to basics, it's vialism is what this whole album is really, really about. And it's this fake religion that these weird bishops worship, and you worship neon. And the whole point of he never talked about it, vialism, much. He talks about this in the Discord interview specifically because he didn't want to be seen as one of those people that tries to create their own religion. Because this wasn't a thing where I made vialism now follow vialism. It was, let's talk about how religion works sometimes. And it's this concept. So he cut out a lot of stuff, he said, but kind of the whole point of vialism is to end your own life. Like that's and affect as many people as possible. So it's really interesting where you're like, where did that come from? And it came from the thought of a godless world. What? Where does he keep these thoughts? How does his brain work that you go, in my head I go, what would a godless world look like? And it's just like the purge, like a little bit of chaos. He went religion based on being fake in general, and fake comfort and fake love and fake light and fake heat.
I almost wonder too, though, like for if it could be like a metaphor, a symbol for just like, I don't know, more of the like wrong ways that faith is portrayed, or like
Absolutely
the way that, like we talked about earlier, like the ways that scripture can be twisted, or
yes,
like people claim there's something when they're actually not.
Yeah.
It can kind of be seen in oh god, I had a thought. I think I lost it. Oh goodness. Well, just
That's
kidding.
okay.
Where did I completely gone? I had anyway.
Something that I'm really excited to analyze. I love the jumpsuit music video. And two of my favorite verses are Hebrews 12, 1-2. I don't have them in front of me, but it's about because we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, and let us run with endurance the race set before us. And I feel like the cloud of witnesses, the people up there, sin clinging closely, like he puts the black on his neck. Like I just feel like it just perfectly paralleled those verses, and I'm really excited to analyze it.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. Oh, it's just like stuff like that where it's like, yeah, what? You must have had a Bible in front of you. You must have been reading stuff, because that's so specific.
Yeah.
We talked about that. There was one specific part of No Fun Intended that I think was ripped fully from the Bible, because I recognized it. It was talking about his friend who passed away.
Yeah.
I run the race. I fought the fight. I can't remember what order it's in, but I was like,
that kind of sounds like that too.
I can't remember what verse it is, but it's like alluding to the fact that he probably sees his friend as a martyr, or someone that, died for a kind of a cause in a way. I don't know. But it's just like stuff like that where you're like, Tyler, I see you. I think you're doing this on purpose.
Yeah.
It's so good. That album is beautiful. Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it was cool how all the videos like were one storyline as well.
Yeah,
I've been kind of trying to figure out if they're like sort of doing that with these Scaled and Icy videos now. I just can't tell like what happened first. I have no idea.
It's so funny. We talked about that before. We were like, what? What is going on?
I feel like because of the 3 music videos that went together for Trench, we like want to fit these ones together.
I don't think they do.
Seeing them as separate entities.
I think I just really want to know like the trash storyline specifically.
Who's
like,
trash?
When was he? But like, when was he a figurine versus when was he real, or is he just like an imaginative thing?
We talked about the.
Sorry, if you already talked about all this.
No,
I don't think the episode is out yet. I think we talked.
I don't
about
think
I don't know.
Okay. We also talked about it. We talk about it a lot. We're like, who is trash specifically? Because not only is he a figurine, he's a weird stage decoration. He's a physical dragon in Shy Away. He's another figurine, different type. He's a sea monster.
He kind of looked like a Loch Ness monster in that video. I was like,
he's a lot of things apparently. Where did he come from? Who is he?
Where did he come
from? Cotton Eye Joe.
Cotton Eye Joe. Wait, did you know that song's about STD?
Yeah.
I didn't learn that until like a year ago.
I think I just realized it. That's like when I figured out that Arms of an Angel is about cheating.
What?
It's really good to hear your voice singing my name. It sounds so sweet coming from the lips of an angel.
Want to know why I know that that's what that song is about? It's because it was either Rock Band or Guitar Hero. If it was on Rock Band, I always played it on guitar.
Why is that a Rock Band song?
I don't know, but when I tell you, I've probably played that song 500 times on Guitar Hero-esque guitar, because I could play it on Expert, okay? And there's like a mad electric guitar solo in that song, okay? I could play it on expert level. And so that's why I
gosh.
know the meaning of that song, is because I've heard it so many times.
Kudos.
Yeah, I never realized it. Because I don't listen. I listened to that song as a kid, and like just didn't before you realize that lyrics mean words.
Yeah.
And then I hadn't listened to it in years, and then my friend went, "Yeah, and Lips of an Angel is about cheating," and I went, "Wait, what? Oh my god, you're right." And she was like, "You didn't know that?" And I'm like, "I didn't even think about it. I forgot this song existed until right now."
Yeah.
Anyway.
Speaking of not realizing that, songs have lyrics that mean things, the first song that I realized that with was, which Ed Sheeran song is it that's about a hooker? Which one is it? What's it called?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know Ed Sheeran like that.
Is it Galway Girl?
No.
Okay. It's like I didn't think so. But...
It's like the first one that got on the radio. The one
Shape of You.
No, before that.
The A-Team?
The A-Team, yes.
Okay.
That song, I knew it from somewhere, and then I got in the car with my dad one time, and that song was on the radio. Like, it was just on when he turned the car on, and I was like, oh, I love this song, not realizing what it was about, because I was in like middle school, and he looked at me like, how do you know this song? I was like, I don't know, I just heard it, like immediately knowing I shouldn't know what this song is. And then years later I listened to it again, and I was like, that's why my dad freaked out. They're talking about doing drugs and a stripper and a hooker and somebody died.
It's a whole thing. I love it.
Yeah.
I also came up with this whole theory about faith in Scaled and Icy. I don't remember all the details. It was a few weeks ago. I'd have to pull the track list up in front of me. I've only shared it with a few friends, so I'd love to share it again because it just completely came out of my brain.
Yeah,
I don't even know how.
I will have to go, not super soon, but kind of soon, because I banned Chris from coming upstairs until we were done editing, but he's gonna want to go to bed soon because he's an old man.
I'm hungry, so
yeah, I have to finish packing up my room or my entire apartment, really.
Yeah, I just want to attempt to share my theory again because I blew my friend's mind. So it's probably gonna be a little rusty. So
we're ready.
I don't know if you guys have the track list in front of you, but it starts with Good Day, and that's like Garden of Eden. Everything's good. Everything is made how it's supposed to be. And then Choker. So to choke in a sport can mean to perform not as expected. And so that to me is man fell. Eve took the apple. We're sinning.
Snakes can choke also.
True. I did not think of that before.
The second you said choker, I went like a snake. Anyway.
I'm a snake. You guys know that video.
Snake.
I have a snake, and every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, look at the little sneaky snake.
I love that. And then Shy Away. I can't remember what exactly I said for this one. So We've Fallen, and then shoot, I don't remember. I mean, I guess it's kind of, I think I said kind of like God speaking, don't shy away. Knowing that we have this bigger purpose and calling us to that purpose, whether we accept it or not. I think that's kind of what I said this song represented. And then in the outside, it's we're still just doing our thing. We're living life. We're disregarding, this offer that God gave us in sin and everything. But maybe we are on the outside. Maybe we do have this higher calling. And so it's in the back of his brain, okay, maybe I know that I probably should be living differently, but I'm trying to ignore it. I feel like this song kind of has that vibe. And then Saturday is like complete complacency again. Like we're just stuck in the world and just doing our mundane routines because they're easy. And then never take it as like the realization, like, oh, like the complacency is bad. And like there's actually this tension of like what God is calling us to versus what we've been living in. And Satan is like trying to keep us inside like what suits him. That's like easy, but he's also like trying to weaponize us against each other, which is not obviously what God has created us for. And then, did I miss a song?
I think you skipped Saturday.
No, Saturday was like complacency. We're just doing our thing.
Oh.
Okay.
Then no, I don't think you did.
Okay, and then Mulberry Street. I loved my theory for this one. Like mulberry, to mull is to like think over something. And so it kind of reminds me of like, okay, so now we like see the spiritual conflict going on. So we're thinking on like the berries or like the fruits of the spirit. We're considering like going for what God has offered. And then, sorry about that. And then in formidable, it's like actually accepting, okay, we're gonna live for God now. Like being formidable is like being in awe of something, like we're giving God the awe that he is due. And then Bounce Man is like, okay, like in light of this, we need to like run from sin. We need to actively combat what Satan is trying to get us to do. And then No Chances is like Satan's pissed off. And then Redecorate is like, we need to live for God and like share this truth, but like because of that, unfortunately, not everyone will accept that truth. So that's like a really sad and dark ending, but
21 Pilots. That's also a very sad ending to the album.
Yeah. So
that's really cool.
Hope that kind of made sense.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely did.
Yeah.
That you're connecting all these. I love stuff like that where you just like, it's all about cycles too.
I also just like, as a writer, like I love looking at an album as like a whole thing and just seeing like what the overall like narrative is.
Absolutely. They're very good with stuff like that.
Yeah.
Their stuff always, especially later stuff, is cohesive and to get put together. Where it's Vessel tells a story not as strongly. Trench, terrifying. That's a story.
Mm-hmm.
Even like Scaled and Icy, I think is more plot than I think Trench was setting up a world. Scaled and Icy to me was, especially the last 3 songs. If you listen to the podcast, you've heard my entire rant about the last 3 songs of Scaled and Icy are connected and tell the story of it. In my head, that's like, that's plot, baby. That's a whole thing. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for letting me just randomly ramble about everything. And I'm so happy we had tons of like great conversations.
Oh yeah, you were fantastic to have on.
Thank you.
I can see a podcast buddyship.
I was so excited when you guys invited me. So.
Absolutely. We'll have to have a podcast buddyship because you're awesome.
Thank you. You guys are awesome.
Well, thank you. But yeah, this has been great. I'm sure we're probably not.
But yeah.
Oh, also, if you're interested in what we've talked about today, I have a podcast called EnTrench.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of sporadically posting right now, but I try to post like every other Sunday. And I'm on Apple, Spotify, Verbal, Podbean, and Amazon Music. So
amazing. Yeah, please check that out.
20 episodes right now.
Yeah,
nice.
I can vouch that her episodes are just so calming to listen to. You have such a calming voice.
You. That's so nice to hear because like
and just like chilling out.
We all like grew up with like hating our voices, so it's nice when someone's like, I love your voice.
Yeah.
Cliquecast cannot relate. Cliquecast is the most chaotic piece of
I loved listening to you guys when I listened to your podcast. So I think
it's
we're
the
our
yin
own
and yang
worst critic.
If you want like an energetic, chaotic podcast, listen to Cliquecast. If you just want some chill, like have your tea and listen about
Guys, our podcasts complement each other well.
Yeah,
like,
it's
we
yin
got
and
all your
yang.
bases covered.
Yes.
We'll definitely be we'll tweet out a link when this episode drops, so we can maybe get you some tweeter people over by you.
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet.
Get you some traffic because it's awesome.
Yeah, because you're on Instagram and we're not, and we're on Twitter and you're not. So we're
gonna
like buddy system this.
At some point we're gonna be getting on Instagram. I'm probably gonna do that while I'm home.
Okay.
So I'll have a couple of weeks of free time. I'm finishing up some stuff for us. That's just
I
little
hate
things.
Instagram. So you take over Instagram, I'll do Twitter. It'll be perfect.
I'll warn anyone listening, it won't be as active as our Twitter because I think we're both Twitter people, but we'll get to Instagram.
Yeah. Eventually.
Yeah, thank you guys again for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Absolutely. I had a lot of fun. To wrap us up, you can find us on Twitter at click_cast. That's CLIQUE_CAST. And I'm not even going to say anything. Giveaway.
One word.
We plugged it at
giveaway.
The beginning, so you already know what's happening.
Giveaway. Let us give you free stuff. Look for us on Patreon at patreon.com/cliquecast. That's CLIQUECAST, no underscore. We have 3 tiers of a lot of fun extra content. So check it out if you're looking for some fun stuff from us. Joining us will be able to help us give money to smaller artists that we have on our tier list, which you can find over there to get more information. And also, we're trying to heighten the quality of our episodes. You know,
woohoo!
give you some good quality content.
Yeah.
No pressure to join. Absolutely no pressure. It's just extra content if you want it. Another good way to support us for free is to wherever you listen to podcasts, leave us a review so that we can get our name out there and can come up for more people. So we can create a little army of Cliquecastians, if you will.
Yay!
Leave a review and screenshot it and tweet us and we'll send you all of our love. But yeah, thank you for listening to another episode of our 21 Pilots ramblings.
This time it involves some other topics besides 21 Pilots. Okay.
We did talk about 21 Pilots. We checked that box off.
Swish Pilots.
That's all that matters. Swish and Flick Tooth Tunes Pilots is
Tooth Tunes. Sponsored by Tooth Tunes.
Hey, Tooth Tunes.
That's our sponsor goal.
Are Tooth Tunes still around? If they are, they should sponsor us because I'll promote that product.
I'll buy one.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, I could have a toothbrush and your voice would come out of it when I'm brushing my teeth.
This isn't a video podcast, but you guys can see me. It's brushing your teeth, and it's my voice.
I have to upload this one on YouTube. I'm gonna have to. We gotta start putting videos on there. So we weren't prepared to put this one on YouTube. So if you're seeing this on YouTube, sorry for the very poor quality. but
like if you have a Tooth Tunes, toothbrush with my toothpaste in it, my voice in it, you need to brush your teeth well or your teeth will look like mine because mine are wonky.
Oh,
the whole thing. Thank you so much, Anna, for joining us.
No problem.
We had a lot of fun. I'm Remus.
And I'm Michael.
And this has been Cliquecast.
We made it. We pulled through.
I can't remember how early I started recording before we actually started talking.
I think.
Well, because this audio file is definitely 2 hours long.
Yeah, mine too.
Oh, that's smart. You guys both record.
Yeah. Well, that's how we usually do it. When it's just us, we like Zoom, but then we voice record ourselves on our phone.
Okay.
And then in the audio editing program I use on my computer, I layer them together. Then I can edit out parts as a whole and take out background like staticky noises or I
went the whole episode without hitting this though, so you don't have to edit. You don't have to edit my.
Was that a goal?
I just thought about it where I was like, because we'll be talking, and when Michael's talking, so that my audio isn't needed, I'll hit it, but it makes noise that you can hear.
Oh, okay.
And it's not super loud. It's just
take
noticeable.
it out, especially now that we have 2 separate tracks. Like I can take that out, so you're fine.
Mhm.
But I was just like, no, I'm gonna go through it. next time, which will be, what's today? Today's Monday.
26.
Yeah, because we're doing another episode with a guest on Wednesday.
Thursday.
Oh dang, you have a full week.
It was a whole thing, but I'll probably be hitting this very much because just kidding, it'll be a recording. I'll be with my family then, so it'll be a whole thing.
Oh.
I'll have moved. This is the last episode I'm recording in this room though.
Oh,
Congratulations.
It looks so empty and sad in here. You've seen what this room looks like.
Different.
The pilots.
Yeah, I was gonna ask at first, like if you had just moved there or what.
No, the pilots are gone off that wall.
Sad.
They're over there. Yeah, I move out of this apartment tomorrow. So
okay.
I've been having an interesting couple of days.
Safe move. Hopefully you'll get some time to relax afterwards.
Yeah, I'm moving. It's funny because I'm moving out of this apartment. I'm going to be home for 2 weeks. In those 2 weeks, I'm going to Cedar Point.
Ooh.
For like, I'm going to be gone for 4 days. We're staying in a hotel there. So that's going to be chaotic. And then I'm, so that's 2 weeks that I'm home. And then I move again into my actual apartment. So it's going to be
okay.
a time. Moving's already stressful. I got to add technically 2 moves.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild, but it'll be great. The next time we record like after this episode, maybe 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know.
We have this one, and then we're probably scheduling another one maybe while I'm home. Who knows?
Yeah, because I think we need to record one with just us too. What we'll do is we'll record a bunch for like 2 weeks. We'll record so many episodes, and then we'll take like 2 weeks off because we're like, oh, we're ahead and we don't need to do anything. And then it's like,
and then we ran out.
Yeah. Overestimate.
Because if we should also technically start doing album recap.
I know we have a bunch of one-offs, so yeah, we probably should do like an actual episode. Not that these.
I'm trying to remember. I can never remember which order albums come out because I'm a bad fan.
I always think of it backwards, so I always think it's self-titled and then regional at best.
No, it is self-titled.
It is?
Self-titled is 2009, regional at best is 2011. I always think regional at best is first. So
that's why I
start listening to. Yeah. I know, that's why I mix it up every time. It's so dumb. I think it's because regional at best isn't distributed. I think it's the first album. I think that's why I get so confused. But yeah, so start listening to self-titled. They'll be prepared we can start talking about that.
Do you think they would ever like perform any of the regional at best songs?
They haven't done full songs. They can, but they just haven't done full songs. They did I think it was at the Blurry Face show I went to. They did a mashup of old songs. There were old songs
I remember Forrest was on that.
Yes.
It could have been mine that I just wasn't fully aware of it.
I think they used to perform regional at best songs, but now they just have so much stuff that they got to play Stressed Out every show or else people will riot. So they, there's stuff taken up by big songs where it's like, they're not going to play Forest or like, Glowing Eyes, even though everyone would. I'd lose my mind specifically. If they played Glowing Eyes, I think I'd have to walk out because I'd be so happy I wouldn't be able to comprehend it. I'd be like, hi, you're playing a regional at best song in 2021? Hello? It's a whole thing.
That'd be cool though if they just like made a narrative from a bunch